Hey everyone, my name is Dante and welcome back to Story Hub, your hub for the best stories on Reddit. I moved into a detached townhouse a few months ago. It's a rental. I'm leasing it for a year with the option to extend that with a second year or possibly buy the house. My driveway is right next to the neighbors. It's big enough to fit 2 regular-sized cars, and halfway down my driveway there's a path leading around my house. On one side of the path is my house. On the other side is about mile 3 of the yard. That's mine. Ever since I moved in, I've been having issues with the neighbors using my driveway for parking, turning their cars, storing their other stuff, play, etc. etc. Asking them to stop using it and keep their items on their own property has not worked. So I placed a few large plants, installed a camera and a no trespassing sign, and that helped a bit. At least the cars are gone. The last few weeks with the stay home advice, I've been working from home, but the neighbors' kids are making that really hard. They're about 5 and 7, boys, and they keep ringing my doorbell multiple times a day to ask if they can play with my dog, if I want to play with them, or anything else they can think of. I asked them to stop it so I can work, which of course didn't work, so I asked their parents, and was told boys will be boys and they weren't going to do anything about it. To keep my sanity intact, I removed the battery from the doorbell, but now they keep running around in my front yard, on the path around the house, banging on my windows, banging on my doors, and actually tried to open the gate to my backyard this morning as they heard me in there. I once again asked them to stop, told them I will not be allowing them to play with the dog anymore at all if they keep this up, and they leave, sending over their dad. I told him to keep the boys away from my property and door. If not, I'll be planting some prickly bushes to teach them to stay away from other people's property and shut the door in his face. Would I be an idiot if I really did that? I'd love to place a fence or something, but as it may be a short-term rental, I have to be able to return everything to its original state for now. Update. About a week after my post, I planted a wall of blackberries and raspberries at the 2 sides of my garden facing the driveway, about 30 centimeters from the edge so no overhanging branches. On the other side of the berry wall, I planted lots of stuff like strawberries and tomatoes. To reach the tomatoes and strawberries from the driveway, you have to either go through the fruit bushes or walk up to my house, walk about mile 2, along the side of the house and my windows, and then walk into my actual garden. Not something you do by mistake. For about 2 weeks it was somewhat quiet, but I still found the kids on my driveway every single day. As far as I know, they did not enter the garden, and I hadn't noticed them walking around my house anymore, so I figured the bushes were working. About 1 week ago, berry season started and my bushes are now full of raspberries, and there's lots of strawberries as well. The neighbors noticed. First I caught the boys picking and eating raspberries, so I told them off and dropped them off at home. Told their mom I caught them stealing. That's how I see it, even though it's fruit, and that I'd call the cops next time. She huffed and told me to grow up, but took the boys inside anyway. After that it was quiet up until yesterday afternoon, when I went out for a while and found the dad and his 2 sons right in the middle of my garden when I returned, clearing my bushes and plants. I didn't even confront them, just called the cops from a distance as they hadn't noticed me yet and started filming them after making the call. Luckily, 2 cops showed up after 10 minutes or so, and they confronted the neighbor as they were still picking berries. They told them they were trespassing and that the berry picking was in fact considered stealing and that I could press charges. For the first time I noticed a bit of fear in my neighbor. He was having trouble finding his words and kept looking back at his house, I guess hoping his wife would yell at the cops. They all went inside with the cops, so I just went home as well. After a while the cops came by and asked me if I wanted to press charges. I asked them if they felt like they scared the neighbor enough to stay away. I got a small smile and yes about him, but the wife had just kept shouting at them and her husband about the little bitch living next door. I told them no for now, asked them if I'd be allowed to get an extra camera set up on the wall between my garden and the road to cover the entire front garden plus driveway. They said that's allowed as long as it's on my side of the wall. So, now I'm getting an extra camera installed. One neighbor knows I'm done messing around, but his wife isn't there yet, and if I ever catch any of them again, the cops will be called and possible charges will follow. Not an idiot. But the better idea would be to call the non-emergency number for the police and ask an officer to come down to talk to the kids and the parents, plus issue them a warning. Sometimes you need a figure of authority to explain things in order to have your needs met. Not an idiot. You know what those parents in those bushes have in common? They both have little pricks. Okay, that was my little joke. Not a really good one, but whatever. Seriously, those parents seriously need to keep their kids under control. They shouldn't be running around on your property bothering you and banging on the windows and shooting. The parents are definitely at fault for this. You definitely wouldn't be an idiot for this. It's your property. Now for the next story. I own a vape shop. We're a small business, only 12 employees. One of my employees, Peggy, was supposed to open yesterday. Peggy has recently been promoted to manager after 2 solid years of good work as a cashier. I really thought she could handle the responsibility. So, I wake up 3 hours after the place should be open, and I have 22 notifications on the store Facebook page. Customers have been trying to come to the shop, but the store is closed. Employees are showing up to work, but they're locked out. I call Peggy and get no response. I text her, same thing. So I went in and opened the store. An hour before her shift was supposed to be over, she called me back. I ask her if she's okay, and she says she needs to take a mental health day and do some self-care. I'm still pretty pissed at this point, but I'm trying to be understanding, as I know how important mental health can be. So I asked her why she didn't call me as soon as she knew she needed the day off. Her response, I didn't have enough spoons in my drawer for that. Frankly, IDK what that means, but it seems to me like she's saying she cannot be trusted to handle the responsibility of opening the store in the AM. So I told her that she had 2 choices. 1, go back to her old position, with her old pay. 2. I will fire her completely. She's calling me all sorts of this now and says I'm discriminating against her due to her poor mental health and her gender. None of this would have been a problem if she simply took 2 minutes to call out. I would have got up and opened the store on time. But this no call, no show shot is not the way to run a successful business. I think I might be the idiot here, because I am taking away her promotion over something she really had no control over. But at the same time, she really could have called me. So, Reddit, I leave it to you, am I an idiot? Peggy reached out to me yesterday, apologized, and asked if we could meet for lunch. Update. We met up, and the first thing she did was apologize again. For the no call, no show, and also for her reaction to my response. She admitted that she knows I'm not sexist, or ableist, IDK if I spelled that right, there's a red line under it, and explained that she was lashing out due to her mental state. I accepted her apology, and offered one of my own, both for giving her too much responsibility too quickly, and also for reacting out of emotion. She explained to me that she had a major issue on Monday, and without getting into too much detail, I'll just say that it was the anniversary of a bad thing. She's taking all of her accumulated paid time off, about 9 weeks, and we've agreed that going forward, I'm not going to put her on the schedule on that day ever again. She's admitted that she's not up to the role of manager. When she returns, she will be in the role of lead cashier, a role I created specifically for her. This way she can keep her raise and not feel like she got a demotion, but rather a lateral transfer. I've also let her know that if she ever feels like she's up to more responsibility, she can let me know, and I'll put her right back on track for the manager spot. I've also let her know that if she's ever in a position where she's not able to call out, she can simply text me a thumbs down emoji, and I will accept that as notice that she will be missing her next shift. She's agreed that that will be okay, even when she's out of spoons. I appreciate all of the about 6,000 comments my post got, even the ones calling me Ta. Thank you all very much. I want to specifically address the folks who explained spoon theory to me, as well as those who commented about Peter Principle. Those two types of comments very heavily influenced my actions. I was able to better understand both her issue and my own failures as a leader because of those comments. Hopefully we can both move forward from this unfortunate incident and end up better for it. Not an idiot. If only management in all positions had the integrity you do. I was forced to quit when my mental health took a nosedive. Haven't been able to work since. And a coworker was a primary reason for that nosedive. Harassing me every single day, constant aggression. Even with 3 months worth of documentation of multiple insults per day and evidence she was creating a hostile work environment, and me voluntarily taking a demotion in an attempt to get away from her. I was forced to quit instead of them firing her. Well, they did fire her after the fact, thanks to my lawyer.